YouTube, second video today, man. It's your boy Emery back on another figure video, back with another motherfucking reaction. Listen, man. I told y'all I'm back consistent, I'm back on my grind, man. And I wasn't bullshitting about that. Today, we got Youngboy, and we finna explore his motherfucking real estate properties that he owns. That being said, 800 subscribers is my goal. I'm trying to get that shit by April. If I can get 800 subscribers by April, I'll be cool with that. You know what I'm saying? Anyways, though, let's get straight into the video.
Man, I was flooded with millions of dollars from the time I was 16.
We all know how NBA Youngboy is worth around $500 million at just 26 years old, and we all know how this dude likes to blow his cash on some wild stuff. But today we're gonna break down all the real estate, lands, and straight-up mansions this rapper has copped over the years. And let me tell you, gang, some of these properties are absolutely insane. We're talking about price tags that'll make your head spin and investment moves that got Wall Street taking notes. From his main crib in Utah, where he was on house arrest for over 2 years, to his childhood spot in Baton Rouge where it all started, we're diving deep into YB's property game. But here's the crazy part that's gonna blow your mind. By the end of this video, you're gonna see exactly how this young king turned his legal troubles into a real estate goldmine worth tens of millions. So stick around, because the numbers we're about to drop are gonna have you questioning everything you thought you knew about building wealth in your 20s. Trust me, the last property on this list is gonna leave you speechless. Starting things off with NBA Youngboy's main spot.
One thing I want to say,
I would
like to say this before the video, because he was going, bro, no dick riding, no nothing like that, bro. Youngboy is one of the most influential artists that I know of today's time, like of this generation. Let me say that because he made it out. You know what I'm saying? He made it out. He also is like very, very, like, he has multiple different flows. Let me say it like that. And on top of that, bro, he has real estate. He's doing his thing. He came from the feds and beat the Fed case, got off a house arrest, and did a whole sold out tour. You know what I'm saying? Like, that's crazy, bro. Bro's up there with Drake right now. And that's crazy to say that, because he started like what? Almost 10 years after Drake. Like, almost. Like, it's crazy.
Legendary, and the numbers behind it are absolutely wild. No cap. For real, let me break it down for you. This dude purchased an 8,800 square foot mansion in Mill Creek's Olympus Cove neighborhood back in April 2022. Now here's where it gets interesting, fam. YB dropped approximately $4.2 million on this property initially. That's right, $4.2 million
and that's
cash
probably one of the lowest
1.46 acres of pure luxury in one of Utah's most exclusive neighborhoods. And homie named it Gravedigger Mountain because that's some gangsta type shit right there. But let's talk about why this location was so expensive. Olympus Cove is where Utah's elite live. We're talking tech executives, professional athletes, and old money families. The average home price in this area is around $2.8 million, so YB paid premium for this specific property. And when you see the features, you'll understand why he was willing to go over market value. The incident that made this place famous worldwide happened when YB got placed on house arrest from October 2021 all the way to April 2024.
Judge in Utah has sentenced the rapper NBA Youngboy to 23 months in prison on charges. The 25-year-old, whose real name is Kentrell Galden, was also sentenced to 5 years of probation and fined $200,000.
That's over 2 years, fam. This mansion became his whole world during that time, and he turned it into a money-making machine. The property features 4 bedrooms, 7 bathrooms, and a 5-car garage, because you know YB got that car collection on point. But here's where it gets crazy. This place has an indoor elevator that probably cost $150,000 alone to install, a resort-style pool with stone terraces and glass railings that ran another $300,000, and get this, a custom-built recording studio where he was dropping hits while locked up at home. That recording studio is where the magic happened, gang. Real estate experts estimate YB spent an additional $500,000 just on soundproofing and professional recording equipment.
Have you heard about pop-on roofing? We need 50 homeowners.
That's actually crazy, but $500,000, bro. Like, that's how you got money,
on house arrest, he recorded multiple albums from this spot, generating millions in revenue. So this property wasn't just a place to live; it became his business headquarters. The master suite got a fireplace, marble bathrooms throughout that cost around $80,000 per bathroom, and there's even a bunk bed and game room set up for when his kids visit. But what really makes this spot special is them floor-to-ceiling glass walls that give you panoramic views of the Salt Lake Valley, Oquirrh Mountain, Mountains and the Great Salt Lake. Those custom glass installations probably ran another $200,000, but you can just see how this dude was living like royalty,
Bro,
even while on house arrest.
And I'm over here living in a house that costs maybe 50 in total. I don't even think it cost that. I'm gonna be honest. I think this house worth probably 20,000, maybe 30. This house old as hell. This house older than me. I barely got windows in this motherfucker. Ain't no AC either, bro. It was so bad, bro, that last year they had to come in and remodel my bathroom because I didn't even have a shower. Like, it's terrible. I don't even got a washer and dryer in this bitch. Like, niggas had to make men's eat.
Here's the crazy part about the current value. The property was listed for sale at $5.5 million in February 2024. That means in less than 2 years, YB's investment appreciated by $1.3 million. That's a 31% return on investment, which is absolutely insane in today's real estate market. Most properties in Utah have appreciated around 15 to 20% during that same period, so YB's spot outperformed the market significantly. The aftermath of his house arrest situation is wild because even after he got released from federal prison in March 2025, YB came right back to this same mansion. And get this, he's got heavily armed private security patrolling the grounds 24/7, which costs approximately $50,000 per month. That's $600,000 a year just on security. But for someone worth $500 million, that's pocket change for peace of mind. At least YB made bank on his main mansion, but his property game don't stop there because this dude went and copped another spot in Utah that's even more mysterious and potentially more valuable. Now let's move on to NBA, Youngboy's second Utah property, because this move shows he was really playing chess while everyone else was playing checkers, and the numbers on this deal are absolutely mind-blowing. In 2023, while still dealing with his legal situation, YB acquired another property in Huntsville, Utah. And gang, this dude named this spot Grave Digger Mountain too, keeping that brand consistent, you feel me? This property is situated on several acres, and while the exact acreage ain't been disclosed publicly, sources close to the situation say it's way bigger than his Mill Creek spot. We're talking about potentially 10 to 15 acres of Utah wilderness. Here's where the money gets crazy. Properties in Huntsville with that kind of acreage typically sell for $3 to $8 million depending on the features and exact location. But YB didn't just buy raw land, homie. According to local real estate records, he purchased an existing property and then dropped serious cash on improvements and security upgrades. What really got people talking was how YB was moving in silence with this purchase. While everyone was focused on his main mansion where he was on house arrest, this dude was quietly building his Utah empire. Real estate experts estimate he spent around $6.5 million on this Huntsville property, including the initial purchase and all the upgrades he made. The property was used during his house arrest period as well, which means he had multiple spots to choose from even while being monitored by federal authorities. That's some next level planning right there, having backup locations that meet federal requirements for house arrest. Most people don't realize that having multiple approved locations actually gave YB more freedom within his restricted situation. But here's the genius part of this investment. Huntsville is experiencing massive growth right now. Tech companies are moving operations to Utah, and wealthy individuals are buying up large properties for privacy and investment purposes. Properties similar to YB's have appreciated by 40 to 50% in the last 2 years alone. The consequences of having multiple properties during house arrest actually worked in YB's favor financially and legally. Having that backup location gave him options and showed the courts he was serious about staying in Utah and following the rules. It's a calculated move that most people don't think about, having redundancy in your living situation when you're dealing with legal issues. According to real estate experts familiar with the Utah market, YB's Huntsville property could now be worth anywhere from $8 to $12 million. That means he potentially made $2 to $4 million in profit on this investment in less than 2 years. That's the kind of return that hedge fund managers dream about, and YB did it while on house arrest. And hit that subscribe button right quick before we keep going, because the next property story is going to show you how YB's childhood home connects to a multi-million-dollar empire, and the numbers are going to shock you. But in the case of NBA Youngboy's real estate story, we got to go back to where it all started, 3863 Chippewa Street in Baton Rouge, Louisiana, because this property represents way more than just sentimental value. This is the childhood home where YB grew up, and fam, there's actually a Google Maps Street View photo that shows a young NBA Youngboy. probably around 13 years old, standing right in front of this house. That's some crazy documentation of his journey right there. But here's what most people don't know. YB has been quietly buying up properties in his old neighborhood, and the investment strategy behind it is absolutely brilliant. The original family home on Chippewa Street is probably worth around $150,000
I had to take that call, man. You know what I'm saying? I had to make sure everything was great.
to $200,000 in today's market. That might seem like pocket change compared to his Utah mansions, but YB understands something that most wealthy people miss: community investment and neighborhood transformation. According to sources close to his team, YB has purchased at least 3 to 4 additional properties in the same area over the past few years.
And he probably
We're talking about a total
better.
investment of probably $800,000 to $1.2 million in Baton Rouge real estate. Now that might not sound like much for someone worth $500 million, but here's the genius part. He's creating his own real estate appreciation. This neighborhood is where he filmed some of his early music videos and where his whole story began. But it's also an area that's been undervalued for decades. By buying multiple properties and improving them, YB is essentially gentrifying his own childhood neighborhood. Real estate experts call this celebrity-driven neighborhood transformation, and it can increase property values by 200 to 300% over a 5 to 10 year period. The property represents way more than just real estate for YB. It's his foundation and his investment in his community. This is the spot where he learned the streets, where he started rapping, and where he developed that hunger that would eventually make him hundreds of millions. But now he's using his wealth to transform the same streets that made him.
And you know what's crazy, bro? A lot of people, they talk about going back to their hoods and doing shit, man. Like, a lot of people don't do that, bro. He did that. Like, he's going back to it actively and trying to pour money back into it. You know what I'm saying?
This property significant in his legal troubles is that this neighborhood is also where he got arrested back in 2020. So this spot represents both his rise and some of his lowest moments. But instead of running away from his past, YB is investing in it. Multiple witnesses from the area have talked about seeing construction crews working on YB's properties, upgrading everything from plumbing to security systems.
Let me show you something that makes me furious every time I see it. This is a real tax return from someone making $284,907.
The current status of his Baton Rouge investments is that he's probably sitting on around $1.5 to $2 million worth of property in the area now. But if his neighborhood transformation strategy works, those properties could be worth $3 to $5 million in the next 5 to 10 years. That's the kind of long-term thinking that separates real wealth builders from people who just spend money. Now let's talk about NBA Youngboy's brief but expensive LA mansion phase, because this move cost him serious money but taught him lessons worth millions, and the financial breakdown is absolutely wild. Back in 2018, YB moved to a new mansion in Los Angeles with his brother NBA Ken after leaving Louisiana. This was during his early rise to fame, when he was trying to establish himself outside of the South and tap into that West Coast market. Based on LA real estate records and sources close to his team, YB dropped approximately $3.2 million on this Hollywood Hills mansion.
That's crazy.
The property was a 6,500 square foot modern mansion with 5 bedrooms, 6 bathrooms, infinity pool, and panoramic views of the city. In 2018, that was serious money for a young rapper who was just starting to see major success. But YB was thinking big and wanted to establish himself in the entertainment capital of the world. Here's where the numbers get interesting. YB spent an additional $800,000 on furnishing and customizing the mansion. We're talking about a full recording studio setup that cost $400,000, custom security systems for another $200,000, and high-end furniture and art for the remaining $200,000. So his total investment in this LA property was around $4 million. The incident that defined this period was how quickly YB realized LA wasn't for him. But the financial consequences were significant. While other rappers were trying to plant flags in Los Angeles and build their careers there, YB was already thinking different. The problem was he had locked himself into a long-term lease with option to buy, which meant he was paying around $35,000 per month whether he lived there or not. According to sources close to his team at the time, YB ended up paying approximately $420,000 in rent and fees before he could get out of the lease agreement. That's nearly $500,000 for a property he barely used. But here's the crazy part. That expensive lesson shaped all his future real estate decisions. The aftermath of his LA experiment actually saved him millions in the long run. After experiencing the fishbowl effect of living in Los Angeles as a rising rap star, YB started looking for properties in more secluded areas where he could have privacy and security.
Hey, chat. I ain't gonna lie. I'm sorry I'm being quiet over here, but like I'm kind of learning about this stuff too. You know what I'm saying? Like this kind of crazy to me. I ain't know about all this. I really did.
This experience directly influenced his decision to eventually settle in Utah, where he could get way more value for his money. If YB had stayed in LA and bought a property comparable to his Utah mansion, he would have paid $15 to $20 million instead of the $4.2 million he spent in Utah. So that $420,000 loss in LA actually saved him over $10 million in the long run. That's some expensive education, but it paid off big time. The current value of the LA mansion he rented is now worth approximately $5.8 million, which means it appreciated by $2.6 million since 2018. If YB had bought it instead of renting, he would have made serious money. But he also would have been stuck in a location that didn't work for his lifestyle and legal situation. But the most recent chapter in NBA Youngboy's real estate story is what's happening right now, and it's showing how all his property moves were part of a bigger financial strategy that's absolutely genius. NBA Youngboy was released from FCY Talladega Federal Prison in Alabama in late March 2025 and got transferred to a residential re-entry management facility in Phoenix, Arizona. He had a 30-day curfew and had to stay at a specific location until his full release date on April 26, 2025. But here's where his real estate planning really paid off financially. During his time in federal custody, YB's Utah properties continued to appreciate in value. His main Mill Creek mansion went from being worth $4.2 million when he bought it to $5.5 million when it was listed for sale. That's $1.3 million in appreciation while he was locked up. His Huntsville property likely appreciated even more, potentially gaining $2 to $4 million in value. Here's where his real estate game really paid off. After his release, YB went straight back to his Mill Creek, Utah mansion. Even though the property was listed for sale at $5.5 million, he moved right back in with heavily armed private security patrolling the property. That's some next-level planning right there, keeping your main spot available even when you're locked up. But here's the financial genius of this move. By keeping the property on the market while living in it, YB is testing the waters to see if he can get above asking price. In today's luxury real estate market, properties like his often sell for 10 to 20% above listing price if there's a bidding war. That could mean an extra $550,000 to $1.1 million in his pocket. What really got people...
I'm learning a lot right here. And one of the things that I learned is do not purchase a property in LA. And whenever you do purchase stuff, invest in it. You know what I'm saying? I like invest in it because it's going to be appreciated a lot. You know what I'm saying? I don't know what the term appreciate means. Like, to me, it means I'm very thankful for it. I don't know what it means to these people, you know, these people who go and buy homes, you know. I don't know what the fuck that means. But I'm right here trying to learn. I'm like, damn, bro, why be slick smart? Like, he really smart as hell.
Worried was seeing the level of security YB felt he needed upon his return. But the financial investment in security is actually smart business. Multiple witnesses in the neighborhood reported seeing armed guards patrolling the grounds 24/7, which costs around $50,000 per month. But for someone with YB's net worth and legal history, that security investment protects a much larger financial empire. The current situation is that he's on 5 years of federal supervised release, which means his movements are still being monitored. But having that Utah mansion as his base gives him the privacy and security he needs while still complying with his probation requirements. It's a perfect setup for someone in his position, and it's protecting millions in assets. But when you add up all of NBA Youngboy's confirmed real estate moves and factor in the properties we don't know about, the numbers are absolutely staggering and way bigger than anyone realizes. His main Mill Creek, Utah mansion is currently listed at $5.5 million, but real estate experts say properties like that in today's market could easily sell for $6 to $7 million. The 8,800 square feet, 1.46 acres, and all those luxury features make it a premium property in one of Utah's most exclusive neighborhoods. That's a potential $1.5 to $2 million profit from his original $4.2 million investment. The second Huntsville, Utah property on multiple acres acres could be worth anywhere from $8 to $12 million based on recent comparable sales in the
So
area.
right now we
if
at 18
YB
million.
invested $6.5 million initially, he's looking at a potential $2 to $5 million profit on this property alone.
So really,
these Baton Rouge real estate investments, while smaller individually, represent a brilliant long-term strategy with an estimated $1.2 million invested across multiple properties and the potential for 200 to 300% appreciation over the next decade. YB could be sitting on $3 to $5 million worth of Louisiana real estate in the future.
That's almost $25 million right
LA
now.
mansion situation, while costly in the short term, saved him millions by teaching him to avoid overpriced West Coast real estate. That $420,000 lesson prevented him from making a $15 to $20 million mistake. But here's what most people don't realize. These are just the properties we know about. Someone with NBA, Youngboy's wealth, and need for privacy likely has additional properties that haven't been publicly disclosed.
Sometimes
that is true. He could have property somewhere in Delaware, you know what I'm saying? Like Rhode Island,
real estate experts who work with high net worth individuals say it's common for celebrities to own properties through LLCs and trusts that don't show up in public records. According to sources in the luxury real estate industry, YB likely owns additional properties in at least 2 to 3 other states. Conservative estimates suggest he could have another $10 to $15 million in undisclosed real estate investments. When you factor in potential undisclosed properties, investment land, and the appreciation of his known properties, YB's real estate portfolio could easily be worth $25 to $35 million right now. But here's the most insane part. If current appreciation trends continue, YB's real estate portfolio could be worth $50 to $70 million within the next 5 years. That's generational wealth built primarily through smart property investments while dealing with legal issues and federal prison time. The most disturbing part of this whole story is how YB had to build this real estate empire while constantly dealing with legal issues and security threats. Most 26-year-olds are just starting to think about buying their first home. But YB has been strategically building a multi-million-dollar property portfolio while navigating federal charges and house arrest. What YB's real estate moves really show is how this dude thinks like a Wall Street investor, not just a rapper, and the financial strategy behind every purchase is absolutely brilliant. Choosing Utah over traditional rap hotspots like Atlanta, Miami, or LA was genius because he got more space, more privacy, and better value for his money.
I'm gonna be honest, bro. I don't blame him for doing that, bro. I would have went somewhere like that too. Honestly, if I had money like that, bro, and I was a mainstream artist like Youngboy, bro, I would have went somewhere like Colorado. You know what I'm saying? Like somewhere like out the way. But I want to be in the city still. But I want to be somewhere with like out the way, like out the way. Like I would have went Phoenix. You know what I'm saying? Like I don't know. I just went with somewhere.
YB would have paid $8 to $12 million for a property comparable to his $4.2 million Utah mansion. In Miami, it would have been $10 to $15 million. In LA, we're talking $15 to $20 million easy. The fact that he named both Utah properties Gravedigger Mountain shows he's building a brand around his real estate, not just buying random houses. That's some calculated type shit that shows long-term thinking about brand value and potential future development opportunities. Having multiple properties in the same state also made sense for his legal situation and his finances. It showed the courts he was committed to staying in Utah and following the rules, which probably helped with his house arrest conditions. But it also allowed him to take advantage of Utah's booming real estate market across multiple locations. The security measures at his properties show that YB understands the reality of his situation, but they're also protecting serious assets. When you're worth hundreds of millions and come from the streets, you can't just live like a regular person.
He was in like all black clothing on the damn horse and shit.
They're necessary protection for him, his family, and his multi-million-dollar investments. His Baton Rouge investment strategy shows he's thinking about community impact and long-term wealth building. By investing in his old neighborhood, YB is creating value while giving back to his community. That's the kind of move that builds lasting wealth and power.
All right, Chad, I ain't finna sit around and play the rest of that. He ain't finna do nothing but talk about how smart YB is and what he did to be so smart. And I'm not trying to hear this talk no more. That being said, it's your boy Emery, and I'm gone. Peace. I also gotta go to work.